when we go to Quran, for instance, Quran chapter 27, verse 91, Prophet Muhammad himself said, وَأُمِرْتُ أَنْ أَكُونَ مِنَ الْمُسْلِمِينَ, that I have been commanded to be of the Muslims. Now, what comes into play is people don't understand the notion of what the word Muslim actually, means, because people have romanized it into English. So when somebody says this guy is a Muslim, they just think it's a concept of Sunni Shia, and that makes a person a Muslim. That is not the case. It's actually been romanized, which in Arabic means to subject or submit yourself to God. So somebody who submits to God is a Muslim. And then whoever submits to God is part of what do we call the faith called Islam. That is the act of submission. So Quran chapter 27 verse 91 shows us how Muhammad claims to submit, to have been commanded to submit to God. And it didn't start from him. We saw in Quran chapter 2 verse 131, Abraham himself, when God asked him to submit, and he said, I submit to the Lord of the worlds. Now, when you go to James chapter 4 verse 7, the Christian brothers can actually testify for themselves. It says you should submit yourselves to God and reject the devil. Right? So that and the devil will flee from you. Now, submitting or subjecting yourself to God stands in the same instance of what a Muslim is. You submit your will to the one and only God. We have somebody like Jesus also, who is a messenger of God, submitting to the will of God. So if you go to Quran chapter 61 verse 6 of the Quran, he actually came to the children of Israel as a messenger and prophesied to them about a messenger to come after him. Now, as a prophet, Quran chapter 19 verse 30, he said he is a servant of God and that God has made him a prophet and has given him a book. Now, when you go the concept of one God, for instance, if you go to the Bible, you go to Luke chapter 18 verse 19, where Jesus said unto him, why callest thou me good? None is good save one, that is God. You go to Mark 12, chapter 12, verse 29 to 30, and Jesus answered him, the first of all commandment is, hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one Lord. And so goes up to verse 30, it tells you have to devote yourself entirely to God alone, none else. Mark chapter 12, verse 32 likewise tells you there is only one God, there's none but he. Matthew chapter 4, verse 10 likewise. Luke chapter 4, verse 8, and then John chapter 5, verse 37, where he says, and the Father who sent me, he has testified of me. You have neither heard his voice at any time nor seen his form. So Jesus has the testimony of Jesus is what God has actually given him so that he can give to the people, which I can actually see that Jesus is not God, neither is he anything people are claiming that he is God. So that means, which means he submits to a higher authority over him. Now, the will of God, John chapter 5 verse 30 clearly tells us that Jesus said, I can of my own self do nothing. As I hear, I judge, and my judgment is just, because I seek not my own will. So Jesus didn't come to do his own will, but the will of the Father which sent him, right? So John chapter 14 verse 10, he tells us that believers, though not that I am in the Father and the Father in me, the words I speak unto you, I speak not of myself. So Jesus was not speaking his own point of view or opinions, but the Father that dwells in me, he does the works. So he goes again, John chapter 12 verse 49 and 50, he says, I have not spoken of myself, but the Father which sent me, he gave me commandments, what I should say and what I should speak. So anything Jesus actually have to speak to the people is based on the commandments of God. So we can see the will of God and also the commandments of God. And then we can see also Jesus being a messenger according to John chapter 8 verse 42 and Matthew chapter 15 verse 24. I was not sent but to the lost sheep of Israel. Then Luke chapter 4 verse 43. Likewise, he said unto them, I must preach the kingdom of God to the other cities. Also, therefore, I am sent. Right? And he preached in the synagogue of Galilee.
Did Jesus submit to the Allah that we read about in the Quran? There are all kinds of directions we can go with this. We can point out things like the Quran denies Jesus' sacrificial death and resurrection, but Jesus said things like, for even the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve and to give his life as a ransom for many. So Jesus is laying down his life as a ransom for others. That's Mark 10:45. And there are tons of passages on Jesus saying that he's going to die on the cross and rise from the dead. Interestingly, some of them are passages that Shuaib was quoting, where if he just keep reading, he would see all kinds of things that completely contradicts Islam. So Shuaib quotes the Gospels to prove his points, even though the points he's quoting, even though the passages he's quoting thoroughly contradict Islam. So, for instance, he quoted Luke 19. If he kept reading to verses 31 to 33, he would see Jesus took the 12 aside and told them, "We are going up to Jerusalem, and everything that is written by the prophets about the Son of Man will be fulfilled. He will be delivered over to the Gentiles. They will mock him, insult him, and spit on him. They will flog him and kill him. On the third day, he will rise again." So I kind of don't know what to do when people keep quoting passages where if you just keep reading it completely destroys the point they're making. So there are tons of places where Jesus contradicts the Quran, and he therefore can't be submitting to the God who revealed the Quran. But I'm just going to focus on one core issue that shows Jesus wasn't a Muslim. According to the Quran, the worst sin anyone can commit is shirk, associating a partner with Allah. Surah 19 says that the universe is about to rip apart when someone says that God has a son. Makes no sense to claim that Jesus was a devout Muslim prophet if he and everyone around him were committing the worst possible sin over and over again like a beating drum. It just doesn't make sense to call Jesus or his followers Muslims.
What we have here is we have the meaning of Muslim that's given to us is whoever submits their will to God, whoever submits themselves to God, whoever believes in his books, and whoever follows his commands, believes in his command. You submit to these things, you submit to God, you are a Muslim. Well, by that definition, if we're going with that, because I'm going to show you how ambiguous this is, one of the best Muslims, according to this definition that I could ever think of, is Paul the Apostle. Paul, being a Pharisee, knew the scriptures, believed in the scriptures, submitted to the scriptures, submitted to God so much with so much zeal that he went after those who he thought were not submitting to the will of God and committing shirk against God by claiming that Jesus is the divine Messiah who died for our sins and rose again on the third day. So I believe that by this definition, Paul is amongst the best of Muslims. If we're going just by someone who submits their will to God and submits to his books, his revelation, and things of this nature. Not just Paul, but me. I guess am a Muslim. I believe in God. He's a triune God, infinite, and there's no one beside him, no one other than him, and he is magnificent in everything that he is. I submit to him in his revelations. I submit to his books, his commands. I am a Muslim. David, you're a Muslim. The 1,300 people in this chat who are monotheists who submit their will to God, you're Muslims. So that's how ambiguous this is. And I don't think that they would agree with this. So if we're going to be, honest with what it is to be a Muslim, it's believing and submitting to a particular concept of God that we find described in the Quran. The God that it begets not, and nor is he begotten. The God who is not a father to anyone in any sense. The God who has no children, has no partners. You know what I'm saying? The God who is not a trinity, the God who is absolutely singular in his essence, a singular person. That's the God that you have to submit to in order to be a Muslim specifically. And so now we have this case here. Well, okay, if that's really the definition, then let's see if Jesus, the Jesus of Nazareth, the first century Jew, the Messiah, historically lines up with that concept of God. Did he submit to the God who has no sons, to the God who is absolutely singular in his essence, to the God who has, within himself, no one is with him, no family or anything of this nature? Is that the God that Jesus believed in and submitted to?
You said that the term Muslim is ambiguous. Yes, it is very ambiguous, especially in the Quran. God says multiple times, all believers, all people of the book, all disbelievers, all associators. So he never says all Muslims, because it is an ambiguous verse, ambiguous meaning where it covers many people. You're actually correct in the definition where anyone who is submitting to a monotheistic Lord, because there is only one God. So you want to play around with the words like Father and Allah as if They're not equal, even though you have your definition of what a father is. Let's go with the Lord of the skies and the earth. Rabbus samawati wal ard. There's only one entity that created the skies and the earth. It created this entity. He created the human. He understands the human. He told the human, do this and don't do that. That is the Lord that we submit to. Now, our perspective and what he can do and what he can't do, this is where we're opening it up for debate. But this Lord that I defined is the Lord of Abraham. And anyone who submits to this Lord of Abraham, and despite what associations they have with it, or they attach to him, or however they're viewing him in a certain perspective, that is changing their theology. But it doesn't change how many gods there is. There's only one. So yes, you are right. You and David, if you are submitting to the Lord of the skies and the earth, created this world, you by definition is a Muslim. So you conceded by the way you define what Muslim is on its ambiguity. You defined what Muslim means, okay? And then you went into a specific trying to prove.
One second. I just wanted to ask for a couple clarifications because I do want to understand. I do want to understand your point before you move on to another one. But so you're saying that we. In your definition of Muslims as people who submit to God, that we would be, Avery and I would be Muslims. Just to clarify, I'm assuming you're going to say yes. But Sunnis, Shias, Sufis, these would all be Muslims, and that they are submitting to God, but you would believe they're misguided in certain ways. But they would all be Muslims, right?
They're Muslims, but they're not believers. They have not entered the faith and the belief. They've submitted that there's a God, but they're going to do whatever they want. So there's people that disbelieve there is no God. That's an atheist. That's a person that did not submit this as a criminal. And there's people that understand that God exists, but they want to purposely devout the way outside of the way of God. Those are devils. But then the submitter is, there's a God, there's a day of judgment. That's where it stands.
So you would say, so regarding us, would you say that we are Muslims but not believers?
You're a Muslim you're not believers, and you have concepts of shirk. God never refers to you as mushrikun. God refers to you as people who committing disbelief by the association. But he never called you a mushrik. By name, Christians were never called mushrik. But he's saying, hey, when you're saying God is a one of a third, you're committing disbelief. When you're saying that Jesus is the Son of God, you're committing disbelief. But he never said you are a mushrik, because a mushrik is much bigger than that concept. So yes, everyone in the world has some concepts of shirk in their iman. They're associating things with God, and in return, their life moves away from the clear path a little bit. And and that's because it's not forgiven. So you're going to eat it either here in the world or the hereafter. Some people are just completely gone.
So what do you think about that, Avery?
I think it's interesting. You're a Muslim. I'm a Muslim. We're all Muslims. So it's a Muslim party here.
But are you ready? Are you ready now?
He said, well, I still want to examine this. I still want to, we got to dig deep in this, man. So you said, for those who say that Jesus is the Son of God, that they are, we're disbelievers for saying that, but we're still Muslims. So my question is according to the verses that you quoted, is Jesus, he's a Muslim, but he's a disbeliever?
Avery, to answer you very quickly, do you submit that God is controlling this world?
No. That doesnn't answer my question.
I am going to answer your question. So I'm asking you simply yes or no. Do you accept that God is controlling this world and there's a day of judgment? Yes or no?
Sure. So can you answer my question?
So now to answer your question,
it sounds like Avery has a question for you too.
No. He said he's about to answer.
I understand the question. Yeah.
Okay.
So there's people that messed up in the religion prior to Jesus. Jesus came to fix the religion. After Jesus, people messed up in the religion. Muhammad came to fix the religion.
That's not what I asked.
After Muhammad, I'm telling you. So when you're claiming that Jesus said that he is the begotten Son of God, that is not something that Jesus would say.
Okay. So let's pause here for a second. I'm talking about the verses you quoted to prove to us in our Bible that Jesus is a Muslim. So I'm not talking about what you think is corrupted. I'm talking the parts that you quoted as if they're not corrupted. So
then you're talking to Shaiba. I quoted only two verses, 530 and 22:21.
Exactly. And you said out of your mouth, I heard you, it's recorded in your verses, you read that Jesus submits his will to the Father as he hears, he judges, and he submits his will to the Father. So Jesus in John 5:30, in John chapter 5 says he's the Son of God and he submits to his Father. I'm gonna ask again. So according to the verses you quoted, is Jesus a Muslim but a disbeliever?
5:30. Jesus has said he submitted his will. People saying that he's the begotten Son of God, that is something that Jesus did not say.
No. Let me clarify this, Avery, because I think he's missing the point. So he's not saying what you believe or what Islam teaches. Avery is asking, since you quoted John chapter 5 verse 30, and that's where Jesus says that everything that the Father does, he does, and that you have to honor the Son the same way you honor the Father. Avery is asking, is Jesus in this passage, even if you believe it's corrupt, but is he in this passage a Muslim but not a believer? Because he's saying that he's the Son and you have to honor him the same way.
But Dave, Mohammed, wait, Dave, the John chapter 5 verse 30 doesn't say what you just said. That's not the verse we used. So what point are you making from that?
Okay, so let's it's very simple.
Wait. Didn't Muhammad say he brought up John 5:30? Yeah.
No, I brought John 5:30.
No, both of you did. Both
of you did.
But it doesn't say anything about.
But it doesn't say what you are saying. It doesn't say what you, David, is saying.
Yeah, we're talking about the rest of the passage. Let me just give a breakdown of what's actually going on in that passage.
I promise. I understand what you're saying, but let me answer very quickly.
You're not answering.
We do not subscribe that the gospel is 100% truth. So we're not saying that.
We're asking about according to the passage.
1 minute, David. We're quoting the things that are aligning with the truth, and the things that are not aligning with the truth, we are here to help you correct it with the criterion, which is the Quran. So
that's why we're saying we're not saying we know you believe that Jesus said other things. We're saying according to this passage, would the person who is saying these things, saying that he does whatever the Father does, someone who says that he's the one who raises the dead at the resurrection, someone who says that that you have to honor him the same way you honor the Father, where he says that he is the final judge of all mankind, would a person who said these things in this passage be a Muslim but not a believer?
2 points. One, that I'll bring you back to an earlier debate where we had, where I told you Jesus can speak in the first person. And then the other thing is, just like how you're saying there's ambiguity with how the Son is defined.
Yes or no?
One second. The Jews define the Son in a different way than you define the Son. David was a son of God. There's Benu Elohim, the sons of God. There's many sons of God in the Bible. So when you're taking it as a begotten son, that's when you went off course. But it doesn't necessarily say that Jesus was saying, I am the begotten son. My father had a certain relationship with my mother, and here I come without a father. That's where it's the problem.
Exactly.
Dude, it's very simple, man. We didn't ask you all of that. We don't need the fluff. Seriously. Answer the question.
Yeah, but by your question, some questions.
Excuse me, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Like I can't do this. Dude,
do what?
It's very simple. What David asked you and what I asked you. It's super simple. According to the text, do you take
the gospel 100% or just a little bit? That's what you're saying.
It's very simple. Please, it's very, very simple. Is this person who's claiming to be the son of the Father, who can do whatever the Father does and is honored the same way the Father is honored, who raises the dead and judges at the day of judgment, is that person a Muslim but not a believer? Yes or no?
He's not a Muslim.
Thank you.
Whoa, Jesus in John chapter 5 is not a Muslim, but you quote John chapter 5 to show that Jesus is a Muslim.
Understand the context. Wait, Mohammed. Don't twist the issues here.
Don't twist it, David.
We're not the one twisting.
Yeah. No.
Don't you twist it.
No, don't interrupt.
I'll try not to.
Please. Gentlemen, all right. We're going to go with Shuaib for about 1 minute, then we'll go back. Go ahead, Shuaib.
You are playing the semantics here. Look, Matthew chapter 24, verse 36, it tells you clearly, Jesus says, nobody knows the day of judgment, right? Now, if you are trying to twist issues and base it on an issue to ask Muhammad a question by trying to put him in one corner, with a contradictive question, that is nonsensical. What I'm trying to let you know right now is, if you go to John chapter 20, verse 17, Jesus says, I ascend to my Father, your Father, and to my God, your God. But if we understand and we quote certain passages where he's mentioned the Father, doesn't actually denote that he's the begotten Son. But you are trying to put it in a nutshell by questioning Muhammad that, oh, if Jesus claims he's the Son and he is this, does that make him a Muslim or a believer? That is a nonsensical type of question to ask. Based on chapter 5, John chapter 5, verse 30, the passage we quoted, if you have to base it on exactly the context we quoted, it says, I can of myself do nothing. As I hear, I judge. So it means he's doing the will of the Father. This is what we quoted as a reference.
Beautiful.
Take it over
5
to,
seconds.
Beautiful. Oh, hold on. I just want to keep going back and forth between teams. We'll have you go right after Avery. Avery, 60 seconds.
Okay. Within the 60 seconds, please, Shoaib, is Allah a father? Yes or no?
He's not a father.
Thank you. So if someone is claiming that Allah is their father, then they're not a Muslim, correct?
You have to understand the perspective on how he's using the word father.
It doesn't matter.
Father, is it biological? Wait. Clarify the point first.
Okay.
Biological father,
is very
spiritual father.
No, please. Let me just ask it. Is Allah the father in any sense?
No.
Figuratively, allegorically, any sense?
No, he's not.
No.
He's not.
Okay,
so
it doesn't matter.
I have a question. Shaiba, I have a question.
Wait, please.
Is the person that is defined in the
guys,
Quran?
But if it was
relax.
60 seconds, I do want to give a chance to Avery to finish, and then we'll go right over to you, Muhammad.
All right, thank you. So look, both of you just said that Allah is not a father in any sense. So it doesn't matter in what sense Jesus claims to be the son, whether it's begotten, whether it's allegorical, in any sense, if you claim to be the son of Allah, you're not a Muslim. I'll land my point there because I'll let you guys, you do your thing. You guys just cooked yourselves, man.
Shuaib, no, we didn't. This is how retarded you sound.
We are good chefs. Yeah, don't cook ourselves.
Brother, Shaiba, is the person that's mentioned in John in its entirety, was that Jesus speaking? Yes or no? Was the person in the whole thing, just like how the prophet in the hadith, is that Muhammad? Absolutely. Is the person that's quoted completely in John, the one that they're quoting, was that Jesus in his entirety? Yes or no? Shuaiba, yes or no?
Oh, it's Shuaib. Oh, okay.
Yeah, Shuaiba, is that person Jesus or no?
No, he's not. And
hey, ooh, we win! Wow, we got it.
Of course, they know that. They know that. They are trying
That's
to.
That's how stupid you sound, Avery.
No.
The person that is completely in the John that you're quoting, that is not Jesus completely speaking. And this is what you're doing earlier. Oh, so the person that's in Sahih Muslim, is that not the prophet then? If I said no, oh, we won.
Exactly.
Because you're dumb. The person that is saying that he's the son of a God, or that he is equal with the Father, that is nothing from Jesus. And we're here to tell you that if you have submitted to the Lord of the world, the skies and the earth, you are saying complete blasphemy to put someone as weak as a human, as an equal to who created you and who can destroy you, who saved Jesus from the cross. You understand that? Jesus couldn't save himself.
Yeah, so here's the points we're trying to make. So in response to our discussion of John 5:30, Shoaib pointed out, he went to John 20, where Jesus says, I am ascending to my Father and your Father, to my God and your God. So notice, even the verse itself, you guys both agreed would not be Islamic, and yet you're quoting it to defend your point that Jesus was a Muslim. But it's even crazier if you keep reading. No. Yes, I'll read whatever I want. In verse 22, same passage, a couple verses later, it says Jesus breathed on them and said, receive the Holy Spirit. Oh my goodness. That ties in with the last debate. But then just a few verses after that, a week later, his disciples were in the house again and Thomas was with them. Though the doors were locked, Jesus came in and stood among them and said, peace be with you. Then he said to Thomas, put your finger here, see my hands, reach out your hand and put it into my side. Stop doubting, Shoaib and Muhammad, and believe. Thomas said to him, my Lord and my God. Then Jesus said to him, because you have seen me, you have believed. Blessed are those who have not seen and yet have believed. Our point is that you keep quoting passages to show that Jesus is a Muslim. And if you simply keep reading, there's no way he's a Muslim. So you're saying, but the one verse that we agree with, that's the real Jesus. But the rest of it, which completely contradicts Islam, no, that's all just made
Jesus.
up.
That's
Not Jesus. Notice, passage after passage after passage, you quote, and
Aaron,
literally all you have to do is read before it or after it, and it shows that Jesus
David,
can't possibly be
you're
a Muslim,
ridiculous.
according to you.
How many times in the Bible have you put the prophets in a light that is not true? So Aaron said that he built a
Different
cow
topic. Notice,
for
changing
people.
the topic.
No, I'm not changing
Building
the
a
topic.
cow.
I'm showing you the
Aaron building